Well, there have been extraordinary scenes in Berlin tonight as thousands of people gathered to hear Barack Obama deliver key foreign policy speech on his current European tour. Democratic presidential hopeful laid out his vision for America's place in the new world order, saying he was speaking as a proud citizen of the world, of the world, of the world.
It is a big idea. It is a big idea. A new world order.
Hello friends, I am the Anti-Terrorist. Thank you for all of your emails and your messages of support, and for staying part of the conversation. In my broadcast a year ago on H1N1 and how the government and major pharmaceutical companies were pushing vaccines for the populace to the point that I wouldn't have been surprised to see them offering 2 free burgers, an order of fries and a massage with a happy ending along with it, I made mention of technology that would make it possible to include micro-sized RFID chips in pharmaceutical medicines. Well, it looks as though that day is here. Before we go any further, though, I find it important to tell you that I enjoy being right, despite the nefarious nature of the news. The idea behind this great new product is to introduce so-called smart pills that can sense the body's moment-by-moment response to certain medication, and then deliver this information directly to the doctor handling the case. One of the largest pharma companies in the world, Novartis AG, has announced plans to begin embedding microchips in medications to create this smart pill technology. They'll start by microchipping its organ transplant anti-rejection drugs. They'll see how that goes and then expand to microchipping other pharmaceuticals in its product lineup. Well, it only takes having 2 brain cells to rub together to realize that other drug companies will follow suit. And once the public's convinced they really need the smart pill rather than the old-fashioned stupid pill. The technology is being licensed from Proteus Biomedical of Redwood City, California. Once activated by the digestive process, the microchip embedded in the pill or capsule begins to broadcast data to a receiver worn by the patient, which then transmits that data over the internet, supposedly only to the doctor on the receiving end of the transmission. And I thought Farmville was worrying. Now, according to Reuters, Novartis doesn't expect to have to conduct full-scale clinical trials to prove the new products work. It gets better, though. Novartis is planning no clinical trials that might take into account the safety issues of swallowing microchips. If that doesn't concern you, I've got a couple of spare motherboards and a few disk drives I'd like to see someone consume. Well, just to see what happens, you understand? Because I care, even if Novartis doesn't. The concerns about heavy metals in microchips aside, what about the privacy issues? Chances are the transmitted data won't be encrypted, since these microchips are tiny and encryption is a CPU-heavy function. And given what we know about the capabilities of current technology, about all they'll be able to handle will be transmitting a raw data signal, which means that someday anyone walking around with a belly full of Flintstones multivitamins could be at least as trackable as one of those smart cards we're all so aware of by now. And by the same token, any average Joe snooping around with a reader tuned to the right frequency will know just about everything there is to know about exactly what drugs you've ingested. And that includes the police, too. How do you think it's going to sit with a judge if you get hauled in for tripping over a curb, and the cop produces a handy Medi-scanner that reads you were on antidepressants at the time you had that beer? So you might actually do better in a psych ward for observation. If a local pharmacy installs a reader or detector at the front door, before you reach the counter to transact business, they'll know exactly what medications you're on, and take the opportunity to steer you towards buying any brand they feel like pushing, usually the one they get the largest kickbacks from. And it's all just business, of course. The business of control. If you go for a job interview and they have a reader by the front door, by the time you reach the office where the interview is going to be conducted, they may just turn you away if they have a full readout of everything you ingested that morning. And with the cost of company insurance rising, they'll probably be more inclined to hire a human with no trace of medication, rather than you for taking a couple of Advil for that knee you sprained playing tennis last Saturday. And one of the most sinister features of microchipping pills is this. The technology serves to make sure the patient is taking their medication. And what this means is not just data broadcast, but data exchange via the receiver worn by the patient when it gently reminds them to take their medication. In the world of corporate marketing, this is called a continuity program. It's all designed to make sure repeat sales happen on a regular basis. So what do we got here? Corporate and government spying and big business ensuring repeat sales.
Weird. So, where was I? Oh, yeah. Prison for your mind, blah, blah, blah. This is your last chance, no going back, blah, blah, blah. You take the red pill, and you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. We can tell what medicines you've been taking, when you should have taken them, and then we make you take them through bullshit rules and regulations we make up as we go along. Now, you take the blue pill, and we can beam the complete cable TV package, including HBO, straight into your cerebral cortex. Oh, and it's part of a trace program. We can find out wherever you are so we can make you take your medicine. What do you say?
Pretty colors. Given what the TSA is doing in the States right now with full body scanning, it's not difficult to imagine what your adversary is going to do with any medication data you may be broadcasting. According to the Center for Disease Control, nearly half of all Americans now use prescription drugs on a regular basis. That's a whole lot of info about a whole lot of people. So I'll leave you with this final question. Do you think government, big business, and law enforcement will strive to make your life better or worse with this sort of information? Thanks for listening.
And people better understand that they mean exactly what they're saying. It's a new world order they're trying to create, and they're trying to do so not only without approval or consent of the government in this country, but despite the popular will. This is a straightforward assault by the elitists in this country.